Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, kicking off the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6 at Gulfstream Park on Holy Bull Saturday with this race, the Grade 3 Kitten's Joy. 3-year-olds going 1.16 miles on the turf. Let's take a look at this field. There are some really interesting horses in here, Mike. The number 1 Grand Sonata hinted at some ability when 5th in the Central Park Stakes, 2 back at Aqueduct. That horse just had a terrible trip in that race. He rebounded to win the Dania Beach, and he draws inside for Pletcher and Gaffalione.
Yeah, he feels like a major player towards the inside. Red Danger, the 8 on the outside, has run nothing but good races on the turf. They're both horses coming in here, taking on some of the, more local horses, Dan, who have, figures anyway that say they're going to be competitive in here. We're going to find out if they class up or not.
Let's not fall asleep on the number 2 Coinage, however, as we throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector. Coinage is a son of Tappet out of Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint winner Coinage, and the last Bar of Gold, and the last time Coinage got to the lead, walked the dog in the With Anticipation. He gets loose, he's dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see if he can get that kind of a soft trip in here, because if he does, he could be really hard to run down. He didn't even run that poorly in the Breeders' Cup the last time we saw him, Dan. That pace was pretty fast.
We talked about Grand Sonata's performance in that Central Park. Let's watch the Dania Beach on New Year's Day at Gulfstream Park for Pletcher. He went off the favorite. Everybody saw the trip in the Central Park. This time around, he gets clear air turning into the stretch, and he's going to have to work a little bit, but he does run down these horses up front to win with a 75 buyer.
Yeah, maybe ridden a little bit overconfidently here, Dan. I'm not sure. This was a race. The pace was very, very slow. Gaffalione just sort of kept this horse 3-4 wide throughout, off the pace the entire way. He had a lot of work to do there in the stretch. I thought he ran pretty well to close that horse down. You talked about his Central Park. To me, he was best that day. He just did not get lucky at all through the stretch. I actually feel like this horse has run well, and every one of his starts so far, and being drawn down towards the inside here, should lead to a good trip for him.
And as for Coinage, who we talked about during the Pace Projector segment, he might be the perfect combination of a horse with good early speed that could control a paceless race, a horse that'll be a good price, and a horse that might be dirtied up due to circumstance. He won the With Anticipation, as I mentioned, on the lead at Saratoga. Then he was caught in 2 fast-paced races where he was on a chase, the last one being the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. I think if this horse drifts in price, 6-1 right now seems fair. If he drifts a little bit, you might want to consider him.
Yeah, I don't want to argue too hard with that. I do want to wait and see what kind of price he is, though. Just because I feel like it's hard to get a read on exactly how good he is, Dan. You mentioned that he has, excuses for his last 2 starts, particularly the Breeders' Cup last time, which was just a race. Not that I'm not going to sit here and suggest that he ran great in there, but he was up on the pace. It did ultimately go to closers that race, so maybe he had an excuse there. The problem is, if you're going to take him in here, you're going to take him off the With Anticipation, which, to me is just a really, really hard race to buy into. It was such a phony race with him basically walking on the lead with no challengers. And I feel like, just maybe the fact that he got away with such murder on the lead might have made him look a little bit better than he is.
The 3 is Red Knobs, and he's a horse that's a little bit difficult to analyze because he's only raced once on the turf, and that was sprinting in his career debut, and the winner of that race came back to run second in a stake at Colonial, so it might have been a decent race. He seems like a 2-turn sort. He's graded stakes placed on the dirt, but I don't like these Union rags on turf, and it doesn't look like this race will set up from a pace perspective because it seems like a 1-run closer.
Yeah, I didn't like those things about him either. Not that I feel like he can't take a step forward in this race. I feels like obviously, after the turf sprint debut, that race getting rained off in his second career start and him winning as easily as he did, I guess that just sort of forced his connections to go on with them on the main track for a while. That ultimately hasn't worked out. They come back to the turf with him here. I do think he could take a step forward at a price. I don't like his running style.
Speaking Scout is the number 4, and I think blinkers might be just what the doctor ordered for Speaking Scout, who came with a big wide run in his most recent start. The Pulpit looked like he had all the momentum. He just didn't change leads, and I wonder if he was focused and he did change leads, he would have turned the tables on Red Danger.
Yeah, I wonder about that too. And I think that's a very good point that you bring up, that the blinkers going on could make a big difference for this horse. Not only did it feel like his antics might have cost him last time, they certainly cost him in his career debut at Colonial, where he made another big wide move, got to lugging in through the stretch and cost himself a win. Even in that second start at Saratoga, still looked a little bit green that day, although he was relatively close to a slow pace. I think the blinkers could make a big difference for this horse, and I think he's really, really dangerous in here.
Let's talk a little bit about the 5, Eldon's Prince, who might be a little bit underrated. He's a stakes winner on turf. He's a stakes winner on dirt. What happened last time out in the Pulpit? Did you see a viable excuse, rider switch on Saturday to Arad Ortiz?
No, I didn't really see any excuse for him last time. I mean, he was, last down on the rail for most of that trip. And he did pass some horses late to make up some ground, but he was never really involved in the running that day. So I don't really know what to make of him, Dan. When he won that stakes race in his second career start down here last summer, I thought he ran fine that day. I also feel like he beat a pretty bad field.
Pletcher has Grand Sonata. He also trains the number 6 Royal Spirit, coming off this win in a maiden race at Gulfstream Park on January the 2nd. And Royal Spirit got a very nice trip in this race. He broke from an inside post position, was able to save some ground, got to the outside, and he wins as a favorite should. The 9th place horse would come back to win a maiden special with a 79 buyer. This horse did some good things against stakes competition as a maiden. I thought he ran very well in that now stakes 3-back.
Yeah, I thought he ran well in that race too, but I also kind of feel like he had the best of it that day, sort of sitting back off of a fast pace and then rallying up for second. He ran fine last time. I don't necessarily feel like he did anything that makes me want to bet him back against this field, but, certainly on paper, at least he's a contender in this race.
Father Glado was beaten a length by Grand Sonata in the Dania Beach. We showed that replay a little bit earlier on. It was a promising performance for a colt making his first start on the turf. Now he just has to run a little bit faster. That's not out of the question. In all 3 starts thus far, he's taken a forward move on the buyer scale.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, he might be another horse in here who could be potentially compromised by the pace of this race because he does not have a lot of early speed. We talked about that Dania Beach already. The pace was very slow. This horse was last on the rail as they came into the stretch. And once he moved outside, he really picked up some ground and was actually pretty close at the end of that race, only beating a length. This horse ran pretty well last time in his turf debut.
Red Danger completes the field. He already has 3 turf wins. And one of the turf races he lost, the Bourbon, I thought he ran very, very well. He made an early move into the teeth of the pace in a race that went to closers, and he was only beaten 2 lengths. And then they ran him on dirt, and he was far from embarrassed in that race. They moved him back on turf in the Pulpit. We're going to watch that race right now. And Red Danger was sitting in mid-pack in the 2-path, swung to the outside when Speaking Scout, who's just to his left, made a 5-wide bid, and these two are going to throw it down to the wire. And maybe it was just a case of the professionalism of Red Danger winning out at the end. It was nice to see him fight this horse off, though, in the last 16th of a mile.
Agreed. He ran really well in here. He did get a good trip, but it did kind of feel like Speaking Scout had all the momentum on him there from the top of the stretch. And this horse just would not give in. He managed to hold on at the end. I thought they both ran really well in there, Dan. And I feel like it's, pretty easy to make a case for both of them in here. We'll see what kind of trip Red Danger gets from the outside. He seems tactical enough to me.
That's why I'm going with them on top as we take a look at our top selections for the Kitten's Joy. Red Danger does have that tactical speed. I think he's going to be sent out of there to sit off of Coinage. I think he gets the jump on some of these others turning into the stretch, and they got to catch him. Grand Sonata has looked very good in his last couple of races, Mike. He's just a big strapping son of Medaglia d'Oro, and he'll be charging in the stretch.
Yeah, he should be. I like all of his races. I'm going to take him on top for now, Dan. I really do want to see how they bet this race, though. I sort of felt like there was a chance that even Speaking Scout, the 4, could be favored in here. I want to see how they bet it. I kind of got it down to those 2 horses, though, the 1 and the 4.
1482 for Mike, 8462 for me. Let's kick off that 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6 on Holy Bull Saturday with the Kitten's Joy. Approximate post 3:01 Eastern. Good luck.